Hello students, you are welcome to today's class. My name is Adebanke. We'll be looking through JAMB Biology past questions. So let's get started. Question 1. The major building block of an organism is A. Nitrogen, B. Carbon, C. Water, and sulfur. When we talk about the major building block of an organism, we come to understand that organisms are made up of some cell walls and also biomolecules that are carbon source. For instance, glucose. We have is a carbon source, that is 6H12O6. And looking at genetic material like DNA, they contains carbohydrate backbone. So looking at that, from that we'll be able to deduce that carbon is the major building block of an organism. Option B is the correct answer. 2. The process by which plants lose water to the atmosphere. So what is the process by which plants, there's loss of water in plants to the atmosphere, and this mainly happens or occurs during dry season. So we have A. Transpiration, B. Guttation, C. Translocation, D. Evaporation. The process by which there's water loss in plants during dry season is known as transpiration. It happens in the stomata of leaves. The tiny pores in leaves is the channel through which there's water loss in plants, and the process is known as transpiration. The formation of cilia and flagella in living cells is carried out with the help of the cilia and flagella are used in movement in organisms. So which organ is mainly involved in the formation of cilia and flagella? Option A, ribosome, is not involved in the formation of cilia and flagella. Is mainly involved in protein synthesis. Lysosome helps in digestion. Central and D, plastid. Plastid is involved in photosynthesis. So the correct answer is central. It provides like a structural framework for cilia and flagella, and is mainly involved in the formation of both cilia and flagella. That makes option C to be the correct answer, central. Next question. The food nutrient with the highest energy value is A. Protein, B. Carbohydrate, C. Lipid, D. Minerals. The food nutrient that has the highest energy value among all these nutrients is fat, that's lipid. When you consume fat, it tends to store in the body, and the long-term storage can be used to generate energy. So the food nutrient with the highest energy value is lipid. Option C. It's for per 1 gram of lipid we have about 9 kilocal. So that makes lipid the correct answer. Option C. Next question. Bilateral symmetry, cylindrical bodies. So looking at those were bilateral, that means into two halves. Bilateral symmetry, cylindrical body and like cylindrical shape, and double openings, that means opening at the mouth and the anus, are characteristics of A. Nematodes, B. Hydra, C. Protozoa, D. Protists. These listed here, the parameters listed here, the cylindrical bodies, bilateral symmetry, and double openings, they are characteristics of worms, and that belongs to the nematode group. That's nematode. Option A is the correct answer. Next question. Mouth parts adapted for piercing and sucking is found in which of these organisms? A. Housefly, B. Grasshopper, C. Mosquito, D. Cockroach. The mouth part for piercing, that means it has a needle-like mouth that is used for piercing and sucking of blood, for instance, in mosquito. So the mouth part adapted for piercing and sucking is found in mosquito. Option C is the correct answer. Next question. The web feet of frogs and toad is basically for A. Leaping, B. Walking, C. Swimming, D. Mating. The web feet in frogs and toad, they are basically used for swimming. So the correct answer is C. Next question. The part of the inner ear that is responsible for hearing is A. Sulcus, B. Cochlea, C. Utriculus, and D. Ampullae. The correct answer is cochlea. Is the inner part of the ear that is mainly responsible for hearing. Option B is the correct answer. Next question. The changes of living organism over generation is referred to as A. Human evolution, B. Organic evolution, C. Physical evolution, D. Chemical evolution. When we talk about evolution, that means there's a change. Organism evolved over time due to environmental changes or just ability to be able to survive. Then the changes of living organism over generation, is it human evolution? Is it organic, physical evolution, or chemical? The correct answer is organic evolution, where organisms evolve over time as a result of, environmental changes. And for instance, it was reported that in giraffe, the long neck in giraffe is as a result of evolution, just for them to be able to survive, to get, food from trees. So the correct answer here is organic evolution, option B. In next question, in a cross involving heterozygous red flower plant and a white flowered plant, what is the probability that the offspring will be R, the big R and the small r? So we have heterozygous RR, then this the small r. So crossing these together, we have this goes here. So looking at the results we got from here, we see we have two of these and two of these. That means it's 50%. So the correct answer is our 50%. That will be 1 over 2. So the correct answer here is 1 over 2. Is either we have these, they are equal. Is either we have 2 of these and 2 of this, half of this and the half of the other one. So the correct answer is 1 over 2 half. Option A is the correct answer. Inbreeding is highly discouraged in humans because it's mean. What is inbreeding? That's the mating of closely related individual, like in a family, mating of maybe parent to offspring or siblings, cousins, like that. So inbreeding, why is it discouraged in humans? A, is it because of increased death rate of newborn? B, lead to birth of dwarfs. C, lead to high rates of competition among offspring. D, lead to outbreak of hereditary diseases. Why inbreeding? The main reason why inbreeding is discouraged in humans, because there are some family that have been known to have a higher risk of to some diseases like cancer or diabetes. So mating of those closely related individuals can lead to increase or the risk of getting hereditary disease. So the correct answer is it can lead to outbreak of hereditary diseases like cancer, type 2 diabetes. Option D is the correct answer. Next question. One main features of trees in the savanna habitat is the possession of, for savanna habitats, that's in dry areas, in hot areas. So what are the main features of trees then? And there's also likelihood of burning of bushes there. They are hot, dry places. So the features of tree, just to be able to survive in that particular area, is that they have a thick bark and a corky bark. The meaning of corky that they have different layers of stem of the bark, just to protect, loss of moisture for them to be able to survive in that hot area. So A, we have large leathery leaves. B, straight slender stems with branches near the top. C, thin smooth bark. Then D, thick corky bark. So the correct feature of trees in savanna habitat is thick corky bark, just to protect water loss and to protect the inner tissue of the plant. Option D is the correct answer. Use the diagram above to answer the question that follows. Look at this diagram. It's a pond, a leaf, like plants growing on ponds or river, let me just say water bodies. So we have different zones. This zone 1 is the upper part, when you see leaves growing on the upper zone, and that upper part is known as the littoral zone. Then we have the middle zone, where the sunlight penetrates, and which is zone 2. That zone 2 is known as the pelagic zone. For zone 3, which is the bottom part, so that particular zone is known as benthic zone. So we are asked to identify the zone labeled 2. The zone labeled 2 is known as the pelagic zone. That is where what light penetrates. So option B, pelagic zone, is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following structures enables exchange of gases in insects? A, skin. B, trachea. C, Malpighian tubulus. Then D, flame cell. The structure that enables exchange of gas, mainly found in insects, is known as trachea. There's no oxygen is not transported through blood. So the gas exchange mainly occurs at the trachea, unlike skin that occurs in mammals, and C, Malpighian tubulus and flame cell. They are mainly for excretion, so they are not related to gas exchange. The correct answer is trachea, is mainly for gas exchange in insects. Option B. Next question. The total number of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, produced during glycolysis is A, 3 molecules, B, 2 molecules, C, 4 molecules, and D, 6 molecules. During the process of glycolysis, that's the breakdown of glucose to pyruvate. So with the total number of molecules that are involved in this catabolic process, that's breakdown of glucose, that's the meaning of glycolysis, is 4 molecules. Option C is the correct answer. Next question. Use the diagram above to answer the question that follows. So looking at this diagram, we have 1 and 2. This is kidney, the kidney here, and we have this part is known as the ureter. Then we have the bladder, urinary bladder here. So all these are parts of the urinary system. It's not reproductive, it's not circulatory, not nervous. They are parts of the urinary system. Option C is the correct answer. Next question. Bile is a greenish alkaline liquid which is stored in the bile is secreted by liver, but it is not stored in the liver. nor in stomach or pancreas. But bile is mainly stored in the gallbladder. That means option A, gallbladder, is the correct answer. Is the main storage for bile. Next question. A medium texture soil with high organic matter is, we have different types of soil. We have the clay, sandy, humus soil, and loamy soil. But a medium texture with high organic matter is known as the humus soil. It has high organic matter that helps to improve plant growth. Option C is the correct answer. Next question. One of the following is an example of discontinuous variation. A, shape of head. B, blood group. C, body complexion. D, pointed nose. When we say discontinuous variation, variation means varies, there are differences. Discontinuous means you can be able to differentiate, is distinct, is specific to individuals, unlike such as blood group, unlike height, weight, those are continuous. But when we say discontinuous, is distinct. So the correct answer here, let's look at the options. We have shape of head, we have blood group, C, body complexion, D, pointed nose. All these ones are known as shape of head, body complexion, pointed nose. They are known as continuous. So, but for discontinuous is just specific. We have people with blood group O, people with blood group A is very distinct, unlike the other physical attributes. So the correct answer here is blood group, option B. Next question. The type of variation where there are no remarkable differences between the two extreme individuals is called, this is just the opposite of the previous question. This one is not distinct. That's the meaning of no remarkable differences between two extreme individuals. The previous question was there's a distinct variation which makes it to be discontinuous, while this is continuous variation. Option A is the correct answer. The next question, the transmission of diseases through contamination of food is an economic importance of A, mosquitoes, B, cockroaches, C, butterflies, D, bees. When we say transmission of disease through contamination of food, is an economic importance. When we say economic importance, meaning something that can be beneficial or harmful, but in this case, harmful. So we have mosquitoes that transmit malaria, but for cockroach, they contaminate food. Once they perch on food, they contaminate food, and this can lead to transmission of diseases. So the correct answer is cockroach. Next question, the first organism evolved from which of the following habitats? Habitats are natural environments, where plants live. So the first organism evolved from A, terrestrial, B, arboreal, C, aquatic, and D, desert. It has been known that life originated from water. That was what was reported. So the first organism, because of the dissolved nutrients in the water and the CO2, that makes organism to life to evolve from water. So that makes aquatic the correct answer to this question. C, aquatic makes water. C. The next question, which of these pair of substances must be present for seed to germinate in a laboratory setup? So you need to note the keywords there in a laboratory setup. We have microbes and water. B, heat and water. C, soil and manure. D, heat and microbe. Microbe is not necessarily involved, is not involved in seed germination. So we are in between it, water, soil, and manure. So because it's in the laboratory, it is needed. For soil now, you bury the seed underground. So the heat helps to break, um, speed up some enzyme activity for metabolic reaction to for the seeds to germinate. But in the laboratory, you need to apply heat, then water and moisture that is necessary for plant growth. So the correct answer is heat and water. There are two pairs of substances that must be present for seeds to germinate in a laboratory sector. Option B is the correct answer. Next question. A fruit formed from one flower with many carpels is referred to as, well, it's a fruit that is formed from um, one flower with many carpels. That's known as, the many means aggregates. They are known as aggregates of fruit. Just think of berry fruit. It has a lot of fruit. So they are known as aggregate fruit. Option C is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following plants is found in the ground layer of a tropical rainforest in Nigeria? A. Orange, B. Liverwort, C. Mahogany, D. Oil palm. When we say rainforest, that's an humid area. So it's a water area. So the type of plants that is mainly found in that type of area is the tropical rainforest is liverwort. Is the liverwort plant. Option B is the correct answer. So mostly non-vascular plants are found in tropical rainforest. Next question. Which of the following processes takes place in the carbon cycle? Well, the carbon cycle involves carbon in atmosphere, relationship with carbon in atmosphere, in organism, release of carbon and intake of carbon. So, which of the following processes takes place in the carbon cycle? Evaporation, is not involved. Nitrification, that's in nitrogen cycle. Combustion, that's burning of fuel. Detranspiration, that's loss of water in plants. So the correct answer is combustion, that's burning of fuel. There's release of carbon, the carbon dioxide. So that is the correct answer, C. Next question. Which of the following plants shows hypogea germination? We have two different types of germination. We have hypogea germination and epigea germination. The hypogea germination mainly takes place in monocotyledonous plants. That's plants with needle-like leaves, and they have narrow leaves. Let me just put it that way. So example of those plants, we have maize. But for epigeo, their seed leaves, the cotyledon, is above the soil surface. So this happens in mainly dicotyledonous plants, and these are plants. Example of these plants, you see them in groundnuts, beans. So which of the following plants shows hypogea? Like I said earlier, they are found in monocot plants. Example of that is maize. So the correct answer is C, maize. Next question. In vascular plants, xylem tissue is responsible for, we have xylem and phloem. This xylem tissue is mainly responsible for transporting of water from the roots to other parts of the plants, the stem and leaves, while the phloem is also involved in transportation, but in this case, not water, but food from plants to the rest of the from leaves to the rest of the plants. So in vascular plants, Xylem tissue is responsible for A. Transportation of water, B. Translocation of food, C. Transportation of hormones, D. Storage of water. So the correct answer is transportation of water. Option A. Next question. The causative agent of tuberculosis is A. Virus, B. Bacteria, C. Protozoa, D. Fungi. So the question is asking what causes tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis and it is a bacteria. So the correct answer is B. Bacteria. Next question. Which of these is a respiratory organ in mammals? So which of these is a respiratory organ in mammals? A. Skin, B. Mouth, C. Heart, D. Lungs. So the lungs is a respiratory organ in mammals. It's mainly used for gas exchange, breathing. So the correct answer is D. Lungs. Next question. Which of the Nigeria states is Northern Guinea Savanna located? The Northern Guinea Savanna is located is in between the south and north. So that makes for Borno belongs to the northern part. So then Kwara, Oyo, then Kano. So the correct answer here is Kano. Kano is a Nigeria state where this Northern Guinea Savanna is located. Option B is the correct answer. Next question. Darwin's theory of evolution is based on the principle of A. Use and disuse of organ. No, that is not proposed by Darwin. Natural selection. C. Acquired characteristics. D. Mutation. Darwin's theory of evolution is based on the principle of natural selection, where we propose that genes from parents can be inherited by the offspring. So the correct answer is B. Natural selection. Next question. Similar structures that are modified to work in different ways in different organisms are referred to as homologous structure, A. B. Analogous structures, C. Divergent structures, D. Convergent structures. So take a note of the words. It says similar structures. That's the lookalike. That's homo. When you talk about homologous, that means something that is similar. Homo means one. So similar structure are modified to work in different ways in different organisms are referred to as homologous. For instance, we have the, let's say the arm, this arm in human, and looking at, let's say bats, they have wings. So it's kind of similar, but they are used for different purpose. They serve different structures and they serve different functions in different organisms. So that's just a brief example of what that is. So the correct answer is homologous structure, option A. Next question. One of the ways of controlling schistosomiasis is by A. Destroying water snails and water weeds, B. Clearing the bushes around the house, C. Washing hands after using toilets, D. Properly washing fruits before eating them. So schistosomiasis is found in water bodies. They infect snails and snails secrete or lay the larva in water bodies. So, and once this is taken by, can be transmitted to humans and cause disease. So one of the ways, they are mostly worms. Let me just put it that way, worms in water. So one of the ways of controlling schistosomiasis is by destroying water snails, because they infect snails and snails tend to secrete these um, eggs. They secrete the eggs in water. So by destroying the water snail and water weeds, that is in one way of controlling schistosomiasis. Next question. The central nervous system comprises of A. Brain and somatic, B. Brain and spinal cord, C. Spinal cord and somatic, D. Brain only. The central nervous system, they are, is involved in processing information and responses. Touching a hot substance, you respond immediately. So the central nervous system comprises of, is it brain and somatic? That is not a central system, is a peripheral nervous system. So the correct answer is brain and spinal cord. So that's the central nervous system comprises of the brain and spinal cord. And now we have come to the end of today's class. If you have any question or you need any clarification on any of these questions, do drop them in the comment section, and see you in the next class.
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the content you just watched. To see more episodes as that, preparing you for your oncoming exams, smash the subscribe button on this channel right now and visit the playlist that we've made for you, covering over 50 types of different exams, including JAMB, WAEC, Cacao,